Here's the deal, boys. Hey everybody, welcome to the Thursday show. We are now starting at noon instead of the usual 2 o'clock. We are attempting to do something a little different because we need to start this show a little earlier because every week we're going and we're like, you know what, we got to end. We got work, we got family. We don't want to put those time constraints on ourselves anymore. We want to do it. We just want to run and have some fun. How about that, Shane?
Just go. Let's just go.
Let's go.
I woke up this morning just ready to go today. I don't know what's up, but let's do this.
Yes. So, as you guys know, we got an amazing show today. Let me just walk you through what we are talking about. We are going to be talking about Henry Cavill and Danny Garcia and their social media confirmations that Superman is indeed back. And this will mean, this you know what that means? This is the final Superman Watch 2022.
Wait, the final? No, we still have to watch him.
No, but we were watching for him. He's here.
So Superman Watch 2023 is going to be what's coming, right?
Yes, but this is the final 2022.
Got it. That's
and so we're gonna play that stinger one more time, but it'll be the last time.
Like everybody cares. That's great.
No one cares. I care because the stinger took me several hours to create.
I like it. I like saying it.
Of course, the Weekly Terry is back on the menu, boys. It's going to be fun. We got some little Riker and Picard action going on. We have the Rant of the Week, and today we're talking about the fact checkers. Who watches the Watchers, my friend? It's a very potentially... it's a potentially gnarly... topic to take on.
Yeah. Yes.
We are not going to be taking it on from a political bent.
Thank you.
We're going to take it on straight ahead and look at exactly what's going on with fact checkers because it's silly. So we'll talk about it. James Gunn and Peter Safran is heading the DC studios. First off,
woo!
There's a DC studios. That's the first good news.
Right.
But you know this, there wasn't a DC Studios until this year. Can anybody believe that? That's phenomenally insane to me.
That's you. That's Warner Brothers for you.
Black Adam pulling in $200 million worldwide. Some people are like, Some people are like,
all the people who said that they wasn't going to make that much money.
Right.
Come on now.
You know what's crazy is some people are like, actually that's a failure. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude.
Actually, it's a failure.
Do you have $200? Do you have $200 in your account right now? Really? Because we're going to talk about some inflation. That's a great transition. Like that transition? Huh?
Wait, what are we talking about?
I was like, Black Adam does $200 million, and the people are like, that's still a failure. So I'm like, hey, do you have actually just $200 in your account? Because you probably don't because of inflation. Because Tim Russ is talking about inflation right now.
Gotcha.
That was a bad.
Are we talking about inflation? Because I'm like really talking about inflation right now.
That was a bad segue, but yes, Tim Russ, aka Tuvok. We might have to have a weekly Tuvok segment coming up soon.
Almost. I mean, his tweets are next level.
Inflammatory is the word. Henry Cavill actually talks to IGN about how he chose his Superman suit for the Black Adam scene, and I think that's. I didn't know he chose it, but if he chose it, if he chose to look like Christopher Reeves, great. Guardians of the Galaxy got a Christmas special, and there's a trailer, and there's a special about Kevin Bacon. We're going to talk about that.
It's so fantastic, guys.
It looks great. A brand new Star Wars movie coming up. Like we needed more of that. But
I'm
yes.
like, whoa, excitement. Yes.
Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumaina trailer. There are a lot of things to talk about there. And of course, last but not least, Wakanda Forever, which I have zero excitement for, but we're going to look at it. I haven't even seen the trailer yet. We're going to see it together. You and I.
Yeah.
Us.
Yeah,
us together. We're going to see it together.
As a team. Let's quickly say hi to Archmage Frey, Jeremy Schneider, Kenneth LaRoque. Well, you guys are talking a lot here. Anima, Confusa, Penny, and everybody else who's here with us today. Please give us a thumbs up if you're here and you're watching, and let's have a killer show.
A killer. An absolute killer show.
Absolute killer show.
Yes. All right. So I say we just we jump into the title story. How about you? How you feel about that, Shane?
Let's get to business.
All right. I guess you're right. We could still do Superman Watch for Superman and Lois, but we're not gonna do that.
Oh yeah. Am I missing something by not doing that show?
I mean, no, it's a good show, but
there's so many good shows out right now.
Yeah, it's not like it's not mind blowing. It's not some like thing that you better go watch. Superman and Lois. It's the same as like Avenue 5. I'm like, hey, it's a great show. Check it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much stuff. Like I'm trying to watch Peripheral, Avenue 5. I'm supposed to watch the Superman. I mean, there's just so many things to watch.
Yeah.
Quantum Leap is absolutely killing it right now. If you guys aren't following our reviews and stuff, you need to get over there and make sure you're checking in on those because really good stuff.
Yeah, I am looking forward to Quantum Leap.
Atheist is here. I'm sorry, Atheist for the cause. Sorry, buddy. I can't see the member stream side because I can't have two chats up. So, Brian, maybe you can let me know. In case you're in the members section right now, all by your lonesome, I'm sorry to ask you to do this, but come over to the Unleashed side for now, and we'll do the chats in the members section when we get there. Yeah, because it's very difficult to have both up at the same time. I actually get confused sometimes. I'm like, I don't know which one I'm reading. Yeah, we'll go here and then go together to the members section. Yeah, but listen, Quantum Leap is great. It's not perfect, but nothing's perfect. So it's good though. It's a really good show. I look forward to it every week. Every week. And our Prime video is coming out on that tomorrow, so you guys don't want to miss that. Yes, yeah. Shane outdid himself on this theory. All right, let's do it. Ready for the final. 2022. What? Why do you take your hat off every time and go for it? I feel like it's dramatic. It requires dramatic, and I also apply the alpha layer to the stinger, so it's like I forgot that it was going to show our faces the whole time. Oh, I see. So now I feel the need to do something because this stupid thing has an alpha layer. I thought you were like this is what Superman would do if he was wearing a hat, maybe, or something. I don't know. Next time you do this, you need to right. No, that was no one wants to see that. I mean, not for real. But let's get into it because we got some news. Superman is back. Here's the deal, boys. Henry Cavill is back in action. And, it's not just that, he showed up as the cameo with that cameo scene in Black Adam or the reports. No. It's the man, the myth, the legend himself, the big man, Henry Cavill, on social media. And I'm going to play it for you guys right now because there's no way this gets claimed. Can I just say one thing? Yeah. In your face, everybody who said Henry Cavill was never coming back. In your face! In your face, and you know who you are. And I could say your name right now, your names, and I'm not going to, but I could. Yeah. In your faces. We follow each other on Twitter. Some of you have more followers than we do, and some of you have less. But you know what? That doesn't matter because you're all wrong. That's it. You are all wrong on this. And we were calling it for what, 6 months now? Like 2 years, I think. Actually. Almost 2 years, but we were pushing it hard over the last 6 months. We were making stingers. We had a whole segment every week. Come on. I'm just saying, we kept saying you can't get rid of Henry Cavill. He's the best Superman. So just pay the man. Just pay him. And you know what? I feel like the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is getting
lost in the shuffle here a little bit because he is the reason this happened. Just so you know.
Oh, 100%. There is no Henry Cavill as Superman without him. At least not this soon.
Right. All right, so here we go. We're going to play it.
Hey everyone, I wanted to wait until the weekend was over before posting this because I wanted to give you all a chance to watch Black Adam. But now that plenty of you have, I wanted to make it official that I am back as Superman. And the image you see on this post and what you saw in Black Adam are just a very small taste of things to come. So there's a lot to be thankful for, and I'll get to that in time, but I want to thank you guys most of all. Thank you for your support and thank you for your patience. I promise it will be rewarded.
Hell yeah.
That is a handsome man.
That is a very handsome man. Jesus.
It's like
I'm starting to come to some questioning my sexuality right now. I'm like, Jesus.
I mean, he kind of looks like you if like your face was more taller than wider.
So if my face was symmetrical and I was healthy and strong.
Yeah, and like
so thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
So, I mean, at least I gave you some I don't look anything like him. So
I better start working on it. Yeah, so additionally, my friends, not only do we get Henry Cavill back as Superman for sure, but I love this. Danny Garcia, who is the head of $7 Productions, which is she owns it with The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. That's not The Rock. It's not a bald guy. She does a lot of pictures of bald men on her. Nothing but bald guys on her Instagram.
Hey, but everybody's got their own little tastes, bro.
So this is Danny Garcia, and she owns $7 Productions with Dwayne The Rock, and I guess they were married at some point or something. That's pretty progressive, but she also has a lot to do with this. Like, she's been pushing Black Adam for just as long as The Rock has, and she has been making deals. And we talked about this a few months ago, how she had that cryptic social media post where she was like, "Hey, I just met with." I just got distracted by the chat. Damn you, Archmage. I just met with Warner Brothers execs, news to follow, right? And there was no news. And we're like, oh, what? There has to be something to do with Superman and Black Adam. Anyways, so after Cavill posted that, she posted this, and I thought this was really fun and clever. And I'm going to stop the music there because it's copyrighted music and they do not play.
I want to know where she found the phone booth.
Yeah, and I have a follow-up question. How do I get a phone booth?
They were all over the place like 15 years ago. Now, good luck.
It used to be the easiest thing to get. Like, you can find them junked for $7 anywhere. And now, because I want one. Like, I legitimately want one in my house. And I want to make it work and everything.
I'm pretty sure I won't fit in it, but I definitely want one.
Yeah, I want one really bad. So, just a thought, if you want to get me a Christmas present, all you members out there, I want a working phone booth. Yeah. So I want to bring this up real quick because this actually distracted me. Archmage says, so you are saying Brian is the darkest timeline version of Henry Cavill.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. If he was in Community, he would be the darkest timeline version.
That's accurate. But that's it, man. Yeah, Superman is back, my friends, and I don't got anything else to say about it other than,
well,
I mean, no, other than I told you so.
Yes, it was definitely something we've been talking about.
Yeah, at least over a year now. I've been saying that for over a year now.
Yeah, over a year, maybe.
Well, actively on this channel over the last 5 or 6 months.
Well, I would say actively, but I would say we've been talking about it since they said he wasn't going to. Actually, since Shazam, we've been talking about it.
Yes.
It's really been a long time. We've been saying, no, Henry Cavill has to be Superman.
Yeah, since the headless Superman, right?
Right. Yeah, we've been. And
right.
Yes, right in
Shazam.
The TV show. Peace.
Oh no, that was too. No. In Shazam, he was headless in the end credits.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things that we've kind of been, not saying we predicted, but definitely have wanted to have happen.
I mean, I'm not going to say we predicted it, but we did say all signs point to it. And people actively on other social media platforms told us that wasn't happening.
Right. And I think it was wishful thinking on everybody's part. Like we were wishfully thinking that it will happen, but the person who deserves all the credit for it is Dwayne Johnson.
Hey, atheist for the cause. You guys are so distracting all the time.
This is great. Yeah.
He's been strutting around in his underwear all morning, so I hear. So you hear. I'm sorry. You have access to my cameras, don't you? I knew it was you, atheist. I knew it was you.
Yeah. If you're not seeing this live, you need to be seeing this live.
Right. Yeah, and the thing is about Henry Cavill is he is the best Superman. And when he first came out, I was like, when Man of Steel first came out, in my mind, I go, well, he's pretty damn good. He's not Christopher Reeves, but he's pretty damn good. And then we continue to see him, and they're a completely different Superman. I'm not going to say he's better than Christopher Reeves or worse, because I think that they are, to me, they're both, and now my Superman. And Christopher Reeves represents a version of Superman that is just so wildly different that I don't think that they have to be, it doesn't have to be a ranking system between those two anymore.
I think they're representative of their times. So Christopher Reeve's Superman is coming out of the comics, coming out of the TV series, kind of the shining white knight of heroes. And the Henry Cavill Superman is somebody who's just questioning what his purpose in life is. A little more realistic, a little more gritty look at how Superman might actually have felt, had he been a real person and gone through all this situation. And that we got a more realistic version of Superman, but still the ideology is there, which was bred from his father. Now, I had the blessing to be able to watch Man of Steel and BVS last night with my kids because they wanted to, which was, I'm like, okay, I'll stop everything I'm doing if you want to.
Yeah, stop everything right now.
Right. Because I don't get to do anything with them. So we sat and we watched it, and I got to go through it again. And it's been a while since I've really got to focus on it, especially knowing that Henry Cavill's coming back and watching go through those scenes and the experience. Christopher Reeves will always be my heart because when I was a kid, he's my Superman. But Henry Cavill's the best Superman.
Right.
And I just truly believe that. And I hope that when we get more adventures, I'm really glad that Justice League Superman is not where we end with Henry Cavill, because Zack Snyder was taking him to a very dark place.
You're right.
And
you're right.
I do want to see Superman be the shining light on the hill. And he spent a lot of time dead in these through Justice League. And, so there's a lot more Superman we need to see. And this is the guy who needs to do it.
Yeah. And I got to say, as much as we bang the drum for, or we have banged the drum for Zack Snyder, because we like Zack Snyder, we like his visual style and all that. He was taking Superman to a dark place. Yes. So it might be a good thing that we get to keep the Snyder characters, but we don't get to continue that darker path, because, it's okay to see a dark Superman at some point, but we have to see the bright, hopeful Superman first.
Right.
And from our perspective, we were going to go, it was going to go Superman, learning his powers, Man of Steel, like his origin story, basically. And then him fighting and dying, fighting against Batman and then dying to Doomsday. And then waking up in a black suit. And then getting brainwashed or whatever and taking over the world.
Yeah, I didn't like that. And also, I don't want a Superman whose singularly focused drive is Lois Lane. And so, this character is being built to be this kind of this Lois Lane centered person. And I get she's a huge influence on his life. He's in love with her. But Zach was taking it to basically something bad happens to Lois, and now Superman is trying to destroy the world. And it's like, I don't know if I want to go there. I really like the visuals, and I loved like the end credit scene for Zack Snyder's Justice League, where they're like in the desert and you got Joker and you got just this hodgepodge. And I'm like, I kind of want to see that, but I need Superman to be my hero.
Right.
And I hope we do that.
So yeah, so we can get there, but we need to start with that heroic Superman.
Yes, 100%.
I think that's well said, Shane. And that is where we will end this clip. If you are not a subscriber, just a reminder, everyone here, if you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button on the way to the comment section. Let us know what you guys think about this in particular topic. Are you stoked that Superman is back? And you know what? Who's your favorite Superman? Out of all the Supermen, who's your favorite? Let us know.
Yeah, fair enough. Archmage here. Do you think Man of Steel 2 should be a prequel set prior to Justice League and his death?
No, absolutely not.
Unfortunately, it all just bleeds together. I don't think you could do that. In fact, I know you couldn't do that because you got Man of Steel goes directly into BVS. BVS goes directly into Justice League.
Yeah.
Otherwise, how are you going to do Man of Steel 2 with Superman dead?
Yeah, everything literally bleeds together to the point where it's like the last scene was the last scene in the movie. Then you're like, oh, the first scene in this movie is this scene. It's just too quickly.
Yeah, I think the next Superman movie needs to take place after the events of Justice League. I'm just not sure how they're going to do it.
I mean,
they're going to keep it in the same universe, right?
Yeah, I mean, here's how I do it. Just like the movie ended in both. By the way, in both versions of Justice League, Snyder Cut and the Justice theatrical version, it ends with them looking off in the distance, and then it goes to his farm. Batman bought his farm back, and he's talking about like the Justice League, like everyone sitting around the table in his old mansion. So guess what? That's where he started. Like literally, just like start it right there. Start the formation of the actual the genuine formal formation of the Justice League and their next big bad.
With a Superman, we'll need to have a Superman-centric movie with elements and pieces of the Justice League coming into it.
Right. Yes.
So, as a thing. And so I see, you guys are over here saying Reeves, and I'm with you guys. Like I love Christopher Reeves Superman. I go back and watch that, and I just fall in love again. I just think that's like the kid version of Superman. Mm-hmm. Like in my, the child I was, the young man I was. That's like my Superman, and it took a long time, but there's something about this Henry Cavill Superman that I really enjoy his performances.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so that leads us to clip of the week, and you guys gotta bear with me. I know not everyone here is into video games or Dota. My passion outside of making sweet content is a game called Dota, and I have to share this amazing story. So the International is going on right now. The International happens every year, and basically it's a massive tournament where the best teams around the world get together and they play this like round robin style tournament until you get to the finals, and whoever's the best, it wins. And the first place gets an insane amount of money. I think last year it was like $18 million or something crazy out of a prize pool of like $50 million. It's really incredible, the numbers. It's the biggest tournament in the world, hands down, and very few people know about it. But watching it this week, there was this moment where I actually know one of the people here, so I can talk about that. And he's watching his team. This man has sacrificed a lot to help coach this team. And he's watching his team about to be eliminated. They're about to be eliminated from the tournament. Now, if they win here, they go on to make a few $1 million minimum, and they get a shot at this big, giant, huge, massive prize. If they lose, they're not going to make enough to even justify the cost of being there. So this moment, this man is watching his team about to lose, and this is what happens. Watch the guy in the back right here, the Asian American man. What's happening right now is one of the main characters literally survives with 1 HP to go on and eventually win the game. But look at the reaction of this guy right here. His name is Blitz. He's watching his dreams unfold in front of him right now. You are watching a man who's watching his dreams unfold. just lose it. And at some point, he's on the floor literally crying.
That's how I'm going to be if I ever win the World Series of Poker.
Yes. Even if I don't win and I just see you win the World Series of Poker, I will be that guy.
Right. Same vice versa.
Yeah. And I'm going to cut this short, but at some point, the camera literally goes to his character Blitz, and he's on the floor, and he's so overjoyed because he actually sacrificed a lot to get them to that point. And there was this moment where everyone thought they were going to be kicked, like they were going to be gone, like they were going to be axed out, they were going to lose, and that was it. That was the last of their run, and they just barely, by the skin of their teeth. If you know what HP is, that's hit points. 1 hit point. He had 1 hit point.
He was almost dead.
I mean, that was like, you can look in his general direction and he might die. Okay. So I really wanted to share that because we often talk about entertainment stuff. And we also talk about a lot of angry stuff and rant of the week. We never really show, I don't think we've ever shown someone realizing their dreams in real time.
So they went from potentially winning how much to winning how much?
They went from potentially losing.
Okay.
To pretty much not even justifying the cost that it took them over the last year to get there.
Okay.
Winning that guarantees them around $3 million profit.
Oh, gosh.
So
you should be jumping for joy.
So it's either we lose money or we make $3 million.
All right. It's like the lottery. It's
and the potential, though, they've already gotten their bag. But if they actually continue on this weekend to win, it's a massive prize pool.
Why didn't they have this when I was playing Donkey Kong in like 1986?
Right?
Okay? I'm just saying.
When I was playing Counter-Strike back in the late 90s, where was the $50 million tournaments, guys?
Yeah, come on now.
So I wanted to waste your time with that. I know very few people actually follow that, but I thought it was very, very heartwarming seeing someone realize their dreams in real time, and just wanted to bring you a part of my week. And that was I experienced that week, and I experienced that. To be clear, at a very low point, I was having a hard day, and Shane knows exactly what I'm talking about. But toward the beginning of this week, the reason why we didn't do streams and stuff is because our work got crazy, and a lot of really bad things happened in succession, over and over again. And I had to work like 24 hours straight just to, solve problems, not to make money or to advance the channels or whatever, just to get back to zero. And I was having my mental health was really suffering. And, I'm not like a really sensitive person, but my mental health was very suffering. And then I saw, I'm watching I was watching the game, and I saw that happen. And man, watching someone who has put everything on the line for years get to that point and have just have the opportunity to get farther, it really warmed my heart. So I wanted to be.
You had a win through him. You felt a win through him.
That's I did. Plus, I know the guy.
Yeah,
I've talked to him. So yeah, feel good. Okay, so what are we talking about next, dude?
Oh, what's up, Matt Vader 74? Make sure you guys check out the Salty Nerd podcast if you're rocking Saturday mornings and you're up early, not like me.
Yeah.
And Brian's on the show with those guys. Really great.
Yeah, me and the Mats. I call it the Matt Show. Yes, that is actually a fun time. If you guys are up at 10 a.m. on Saturday, come check out the Salty Nerd.
I should be up at 10 a.m. What's wrong with me? All right.
Well, because you're up at like 6 a.m. every other day.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, you know what's next, Shane?
What's next?
It's the Weekly Terry.
It's time for the Weekly Terry.
It's time for the Weekly Terry, boys and girls. Here we go. I need you to do it. Ready?
Yeah. The Weekly Terry. Starring Terry Matalas, showrunner for Picard Season 3.
Yeah, so I actually had the opportunity to make a sound effect for that. And you know what? I was like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do it.
We'll just keep doing it this way. That's great.
This is what we do it now.
It's probably more entertaining, actually. Terry was a little quieter this week on Twitter. We know he's recovering from illness, so hope you get better, Terry. And he'll get back to his crazy tweets. But we did learn some things from Terry Matalas this week. First off, we learned that he really likes The Handmaid's Tale TV show. He also really likes House of the Dragon, but then again, who doesn't? And he was really been all in on that stuff. There was a funny tweet that came out this week where Matthew Perry apparently took aim at Keanu Reeves in a Variety article where he basically said, "Why is Heath Ledger dead, but Keanu Reeves still walks among us?"
I thought Matthew Perry was dead.
Well, what's funny is the update to that article is that Matthew Perry's like, "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I don't know why I said that. I like Keanu. A name just like popped in my head, but really it should be my name in that spot." That's what he said.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was still alive. We're talking about the same guy who did like Friends, right?
Friends, yeah, Friends.
Yeah,
he was in a few good movies. And
last time I saw him like on a Friends reunion special, and he looked like one of those 80-year-old guys who are still getting like facelifts, and he's like, "Hey, everybody, great to see you." Great. I'm like, who is this person? Who is this monster in front of us?
Yeah, funny guy. But Terry's response to this was was Iron Man shaking his head, kind of. No, bad idea.
Right.
We got some stuff. Terry really loves the music of Star Trek and a lot of stuff like that. He was talking about a tribute to Star Trek 6 with Enterprise leaving the space dock, and he said we're going to be seeing some when we watch Picard season 3, we're going to be seeing some throwbacks to a lot of this old music. So, so stay tuned. If you love the old Star Trek movies, there's going to be a sense of a feeling about some of those movies in this show.
That's great. 100%. Like First Contact. That's what he's talking about. He loves the music of First Contact.
Do you remember that the part in the movie where the Riker pulls up, or kind of rolls up, and Riker says, "Hello, beautiful," right? To the Titan.
Yeah.
So he references that line, which is pretty cool.
Great.
If you guys remember, this is actually pretty funny. Terry had put out a tweet a while back about Amanda Plummer. He's actually done it twice this year. Like all the way back on December 2nd, 2021, he put out an Amanda Plummer appreciation tweet. And then about 2 months ago, not even 2 months ago, maybe a month ago, he put out another Amanda Plummer tweet. And this was before we knew that Amanda Plummer was going to be in Star Trek Picard season 3. Now, Brian and I knew she was going to be in Picard season 3. And so when he tweeted that out, we were kind of like, "Oh, Terry, look at you. You're dancing on the edge, brother." Because nobody knew, and it was a big secret. And he's kind of doing these Amanda Plummer, this Amanda Plummer thing. And we're like, look at him standing on the edge of the knife right there. So he put out a tweet this week that basically said, "This aged well, # Star Trek Picard."
Yeah. I love this, by the way. I love this.
Oh, yes, that one. There you go.
Amen on his ride home.
Of course, it's Woody Harrelson smoking dope, right? Or smoking a cigarette.
That was so true, though. When we did our review, I was like, that was one of the most. I was like, I was worried, relieved, worried, relieved, worried. Oh my God, what the.
And then you didn't know how to feel like
right.
If you guys haven't seen House of the Dragon, we won't ruin it for you yet, but the very ending of the season finale is stomach churning. Like, oh gosh. I mean, you go into season 2 kind of hoping, but also like stressed out a little bit. I don't know how to put it, but really great scene there.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to wait for season 2 for that. And if you want to see our review of the finale, please come back on Sunday morning is when that's gonna drop. Just so you guys know.
Yeah, and Terry was also really big on the visual effects. We talked about it a lot for the end of that show, but he's got this great tweet here. He's like, this exact time next year, we will still be waiting for House of the Dragon season 2, and he's got this thing with Daenerys. Where are my dragons?
Where are my dragons?
I remember that. So everybody's going to be kind of like, wanting that back as soon as possible.
I miss Daenerys, man. All right. Also, we got a story here that we're going to add into the weekly Terry because it's just too good. And we first learned this information from Terry. Little tease for Picard season 3, Riker versus Picard.
Fight.
Dun, 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 dun. What's the Mortal Kombat music?
I don't know. It's intense though, and there's a lot of blood. I remember when
techno and blood. Yeah.
When I was a teenager, I'm like, wow, we can play this stuff. It's like you could unlock blood mode on the Sega Genesis.
I remember, yeah. All right, so what's this about? This is actually teased in the panel, and they get into it here on screen.
Yeah, it's like so if you watch the New York panel, which we've gone through quite a few times, but it's interesting because we find out something that's going to happen in Picard season 3 that's totally different than anything we've ever experienced with Next Generation. You know, Riker, for all intents and purposes, have been a good first officer. He follows orders. Every once in a while he pushes back, but for the most part, he does what he's told. Well, it looks like in Picard season 3, that may not be the case. And it looks like these two are going to butt heads on decisions a lot more than has ever happened in the past. And there's almost going to be what seems to be like a swapping of the roles. Terry actually put out that it doesn't stop with Riker and Picard just having a strong agreement tactically about what to do in a specific situation. They're also going to be teasing that Picard and Riker's tension is rooted in their changed relationship. So Riker was once the student and Picard the teacher, but now Picard is on Riker's ship and must take the backseat to his old first officer. And no doubt it's going to be difficult for Picard to simply accept a subordinate role to Riker. And Riker may experience his own misgivings about being put in a position to give orders with the old captain around to second guess him. So there's going to be a situation where they're at odds. What we can also tell you is there's going to be some fantastic situations where it's almost comical, I think.
Right.
I think there's going to be like situations we've never seen these two people in. Because you remember, in almost every situation that you see Riker and Picard in, it's some sort of action or mission-driven purpose. And now we're going to see them in almost a more, I wouldn't say relaxing situation, but more they're not at the helm. They're not doing something. They're going to be in other situations. I don't want to be specific about it.
Yeah, we can't spoil it.
But they're going to be doing things that are out of the ordinary from what we've seen. And it's going to be compelling in how we see them do it and how that makes us feel. And that might lead to some humor and some uncomfortableness. So it's going to be really great.
Yeah. Just to be clear, they're not going to make out. Okay.
I wasn't even thinking
nothing
that.
sexual about
it.
I know that's where your mind
always goes there.
Nothing sexual about it. We're not going to be calling, they're not going to have like this special name like, oh, what's going on next week on Piker? No, it's not going to be like that.
That just sounds wrong.
Yeah. Think think buddy cops, like buddy cops.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. This has me fascinated, man. I got to be honest, because there is a way to do this and honor, the legacy of Jean-Luc Picard and have fun with it. And there's a way to do it where it doesn't and it's disrespectful. And that line is going to be a damn near invisible line to not cross. And I have faith in Terry Matalas, but I can totally see how this could piss some people off, if it's done even slightly incorrectly. Because if he's getting disrespected by all of his crew and all that, it might be a thing. Or if it's done correctly, it'll be very endearing. So it's gonna be a tight one.
And we may not notice it because he's been pretty disrespected the first 2 seasons of Picard.
That's so true.
On every ship he's been on. So hopefully any growth in that way will make us feel better about the situation.
Right. All right. Well, that said, that's about it. Listen, we're trying to get even more content for the Weekly Terry. So if you like this segment, do me a favor, hit the like button on the way to the comment section.
I thought you were going to say, start tweeting Terry Matalas and asking him questions.
No. If you have questions, put the questions in the comments below, and we will get them to Terry, as long as they're reasonable. I do not want to hear any of this. Oh, why are you ruining Star Trek? Okay, don't do that. Just regular. If you have actual questions, reasonable questions, we will forward them along to Terry and see if he answers. Can't promise.
Yeah, and if he does, we'll mention your name and say this came from such and such person.
Yeah, and hit that comment section and let us know, and we'll and we can't wait to see what he says. Okay. What's next, man?
Oh, I love this. Archmage, you're right here. We kind of saw the relationship in the future timeline of All Good Things. You're right. Picard had shown up and he was no longer, Riker was in charge. You're right. We've kind of seen that relationship to some degree, but I think in Picard season 3, it's going to be even more different. There's going to be more, like, I think in All Good Things, Picard kind of knew he wasn't in charge. And I think in this situation, we're going to find out there's a little bit more ambiguity in who's exactly in charge of this mission.
Yeah. And we got a super chat from Atheist for the Cause. $5. Thank you, sir. He asked, is Black Adam a superhero, an anti-hero, or I'm sorry, is Black Adam a superhero, anti-hero, or supervillain? I was getting mixed signals. Yes, sir, that is intentional. Because
he's an anti-hero.
He would be defined best as an anti-hero, but to be clear, he is neither hero nor villain because he is from 5,000 years ago where those weren't defined. He is a slave that was born of rage. Remember Born of Rage, which was pretty cool looking. He was given powers. His only all he ever wanted to do in life was to protect his family. He wasn't trying to protect Kandon or whatever it's called. He wasn't trying to be a hero. He wanted to protect his family. He lost his family. He lost his mind. He killed everyone, and the wizards put him to sleep. This guy isn't a bad guy, but he's also not a good guy. I would tell you, Black Adam is a regular person with godlike abilities.
Yeah, he has no agenda. Like most superheroes have an agenda, or most supervillains have an agenda. He's simply existing and reacting to everything around him with, imagine us being able to like stop somebody from going down the street, stealing a car or something. We'd probably like overreact to that situation because it's not something that we typically do.
Yeah, and to be fair, everyone wants to believe that if they were given Shazam-like powers, that they would be heroes, right? And some people probably think that they would be villains. But I gotta tell you, in reality, most of us wouldn't be either. Like, if I had godlike abilities and someone threatened a single hair on my kid's head, I would probably overreact and burn the neighborhood down.
I'd throw him to China.
Right. I would throw him to China. It wouldn't be a question.
Like Black Adam did.
And that would technically be a supervillain move, I guess. But I also wouldn't probably spend any of my time trying to rescue people I don't know. I'm just being honest. It's probably good that I don't have powers.
Do you want to know? You guys want to know why superheroes are the way they are?
Right.
I'll tell you why. You probably thought of it. If you think about it for a second, you'll get it. When people started making comic books, they realized who would be reading them. And there's a responsibility to when you're talking to children. And, so superheroes kind of end up becoming this version of what we want them to be, but also there has to be this PG rating in a way. Now, over the years, they changed the comics to have that more R rating or to do more realistic stuff. But in the beginning, that's what they were, is people who were doing things for good. Mm-hmm. Because frankly speaking, throughout history, there's just been a lot of bad in the world.
Right.
And it was just a way to balance that in fantasy. Even gunslingers of the Old West, the little dime novels, were basically people who were villains that they had turned into good guys out there fighting for justice in the West.
Yeah, the original anti-heroes.
Yeah, so it's like, that's why so if regular people had superpowers and you upset them, they probably wouldn't be thinking, well, I need to make sure I'm really careful about how I do this so they don't hurt anybody along the way. And it's just not the way human beings think when they're emotional or, reactive.
Yeah, I've said it before. That I'm going to be the best possible version of myself at all time. But I got to tell you, and then please, and do not test this. If someone hurts my kids, don't test this theory. If someone hurts my kids, there wouldn't be rational thought in my head. There wouldn't be any kind of rational anything. I wouldn't be thinking about how this is going to affect the future or what your kids would do when you were, buried in the ground, 6 feet deep. I wouldn't care about any of that. I would react out of just primal rage. And so I'm hoping that no one ever tests that, because I don't want to know what happens to me or to you. that's my take on it. And so that's actually why I think that Black Adam is so compelling to me and so fun, because he's just sort of like I said, he just sort of is. He doesn't have like an agenda. So it's great.
Artmage made a good point here, and this is 100% true. The comics actually started out more unhinged until the comics code came in. The heroes used to kill all the time, and so they got censored. That's right. So it would be after that the comics were more geared towards kids. But you're 100% right. That's true.
Yeah, that's why I like a lot of those westerns, Western movies and shows and comics even, because you have like these bad guys who are like, they're sort of forced to be good guys because there's slightly worse people, Yeah. And like, okay, well, these guys are worse than me, and like, I don't like what they're doing, and they mess with my sense, they hurt my horse or whatever, and then like they become good guys because out of less out of like moral obligation and more, this guy's messing with my, with my business.
It's more personal. Yeah, right.
Right, it's personal, right, and it's great because when they do become good guys, they realize how much more rewarding it is, and they continue. And I love those shows.
You know what's important about what you just said? If there weren't people fact checking the history of what you're talking about, we would have no idea what you just said was the truth. There's something about fact checking that's important.
The segues are real.
Thank you.
That was a gangster segue.
Let's talk about fact checking.
All right, ready?
Rant of the week.
This is the rant of the week. And today we are talking about fact checkers. Who is fact checking the fact checkers?
Us.
Who's watching the watchers? That age-old question. In 1984, George Orwell, and I hate to bring this up, but in 1984, in that book, what were they called? What were the baddies called? The Watchers. Now, let's call them what they really are. The fact checkers.
The fact check. Ooh, okay.
And I actually got this idea from Melissa Wagner. I saw a post where she equated those two, and I was like, you know what? It's a great point. It happened to come around the time I was reading this article on Newsweek. And it's incredible. So a lot of these websites have their own fact-checking department. Let's say Facebook, Twitter, Snopes, PolitiFact, Newsweek, a lot of fact-checking companies out there. Let's just say it's become a pretty big business to be fact-checkers, right?
Right.
I would argue that if we had a modicum of respect and morality in the news media, a fact-checker would be not only redundant, but offensive. Okay?
Yes.
And there's no politics here. Just to be clear, I don't agree or disagree with Ted Cruz. I don't even know Ted Cruz, and I'm not from Texas. In fact, I actually think that, to be honest, when he talks, it sounds like somebody whining the whole time.
I mean, I do know when it got cold there, he definitely left in the middle of it being very cold.
Right.
And they had no heat.
Right.
And he went to pick up his daughter.
Oh, yeah, it's getting real cold and there's no power. So I better go to Cancun and follow up on my kids real quick.
Yeah. So a little questionable there, but that's okay.
It's like, again, I don't know, or I don't care. He's not one of my politicians. Like when we talk about Nancy Pelosi or Governor Newsom, like we have a lot of visceral because we're actually in California dealing with the bad jobs that they do. But Ted Cruz, I don't know if he's doing a good job or a bad job. Don't know. Do not care. I do think he's a little bit of a goober, and we know about that whole heat thing, which was at the very least suspect, right?
I'm pretty sure he has small hands. Somebody said once,
and someone said he had small hands.
Said he had small hands, but I don't know why. I don't know how that has anything to do with politics, anyways. But it's hilarious.
Also, why did he grow a beard? To hide his chin and to make him look less like the Zodiac Killer.
I thought he looked like a Wish version of Robin Williams. That's how I see him.
Like a discount Robin Williams.
Yes, that's
look. We're making fun of Ted Cruz right now, but here's the
Yeah,
He was on a show recently. He was on a show with The View. I think it was called The View, right?
Is that with all the ladies?
It's all the...
Yeah, okay, never mind. That's all you needed to do. It's a show where it's a lot of... Okay, good, we're good.
Just a bunch of old ladies yelling and screaming at usually their guests or each other, and honestly just spouting nonsense. Like, I only watched this because of the story. I've never seen an episode of this show.
Oh, but Whoopi's on that show.
Whoopi's on that show. Oh, God, Whoopi's on that show.
And Barbara Wawa.
Yeah, let me tell you something. This is how you make a perfect, the most hilarious TV show you could possibly make where they don't know they're being funny. You take 5 women or men, but in this case, 5 women who have very little talent currently. They're past their prime in Hollywood to get those big gigs. They have no actual qualifications to talk about what they're talking about, but you give them a mixture of uppers and wine and let them talk.
Uppers and downers.
That's what it is. They're chasing Adderall with boxed wine, and they just talk about things they don't know anything about for an hour and a half.
Nothing wrong with boxed wine, by the way.
What?
Nothing wrong with boxed wine.
No, but there is a problem with chasing Adderall with boxed wine. Shouldn't do that.
So what happened here?
So he basically goes on the show and they're arguing about something. I don't care. But he states that Antifa burnt U.S. cities for a year. Now, I don't know what year you were born. You were in, but that pretty much did happen between Antifa and BLM and the riots following the George Floyd death. What?
So maybe that's why it's false, because that's the problem with fact checking, right?
No, not exactly though. This is what they say exactly. So between the two, yeah. So is it false because he said Antifa and not BLM? Well, no, because they actually answer that question. They say the Antifa riots Cruz referred to are almost certainly the protests which followed George Floyd's death, which was the Black Lives Matter protest, right?
I mean, we think Antifa fueled those riots, I think, right?
Yes, they added to them. Now, yes, I guess Ted Cruz could have specified Antifa and BLM or whatever, but I'm sure he didn't want to bring up BLM on that panel and get lambasted, so he didn't.
Probably not. Yeah.
So what he said was that most of these occurred, and this is what the fact checkers say, most of these occurred between late May to early June. Although many buildings were damaged or destroyed by fire during protests, this did not carry on throughout the year. While protests did continue in Portland, Oregon for nearly a year, okay?
That was in Antifa involved. Yes.
Right. That fueled by Antifa. According to media,
they actually held a government facility there forever.
They held a portion of the city.
Right.
Are we forgetting? It was like an occupying force. How are we forgetting this? Okay.
But I guess they weren't burning the city the whole time.
But but the majority of the time, I'm sorry.
That's why the fact checked is like, when you look at it, you see false, but if you don't read this, because you're right. If you don't say something specifically, if you say, if he had said rioting burnt U.S. cities for almost a year, they couldn't make this false. But because he used the word Antifa and then for a year, like to the specific, they're able to do this if they have an agenda, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, no, I think it's the so part of the agenda is like, so they are nitpicking a year versus like 8 months, 10 months or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But then they're also saying labeling the protest as Antifa riots is misleading as there is no organization or group known as such. So technically you're right. There is no official Antifa organization.
So?
And I think that it would have been way more accurate to say BLM and not Antifa. Because even though Antifa is like this sort of like just general claim by people, I don't think there is a formal organization. However, there is a formal BLM organization with actual like tax records and like it's a formal organization.
Yes, it is.
It would have been more accurate for him to say BLM and not Antifa. But it doesn't matter. So people, what he said was not, yes, it was not 100% accurate. There was things that he said in that, maybe it was 10 months and not a full year. Maybe it wasn't exactly Antifa. Maybe it was BLM. Maybe it was people that had the same opinions. It doesn't matter. What he said on this short segment on a TV show was pretty damn accurate. But what the fact checking gave us was a total false reading, and most people aren't going to read this.
They're cherry picking the facts. That's what it is. They're, and that's why I'm saying you can, no matter what anyone says, you can make it a false statement if you want by just cherry picking what they say or taking it too literal. It's still, what the problem is? Our world is opinion based. Everybody has an opinion, and that's all that we report on now. So, the fact that we had riots and that Antifa, people who see themselves as Antifa, tried to fuel them and keep them going, and specifically went to events during the year that they could help start a riot, and that the BLM organization was behind the rioting, and that, the real people who rioted are just regular people who are just tired and in that place at that time. And, we're suffering as a result of it. And they end up being inflamed or fueled by these people. And you can't say all of that in a sentence and then try to fact check it. There needs to be some sort of reasonableness. Like when they talk about this in here, they should talk about the things that are true, what Ted Cruz said of what he said is true, instead of patently finding a way to make everything false.
And that's what this is about, okay? Right. So what they say here is false. The claim is demonstrable false. So what Jeremy Snyder said in the chat here is correct. Who is their president? How do I become a member? What's their issue? You're right. No, you're completely right. The Antifa is not a formal organization. Antifa, the term has been determined by the state as a terrorist thing or something, but it's not. He also states, people forget that the Minneapolis riot was started by white supremacy through a rocket and on his own. Yes. No. There has been a lot of passionate, inflamed people on both sides of this going nuts. But the problem we're talking about today is not if BLM is bad or Antifa is bad or what is the other
or white national
not white nationalists, but the other ones, the MAGA boys or whatever they're called.
What are the old
oath keepers? Oath keepers.
Okay,
right?
whatever. I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't follow all that.
Yeah, whatever they're called. We're not saying
the Pride Boys, right? The
Proud Boys.
Proud Boys. Yes.
You know what's funny is Proud Boys sounds like a segment of the Gay Pride Parade. You know what I mean?
They were the prideful of the proud. Yes, I got it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, everybody, and now welcome the Proud Boys.
Yeah, there's definitely inflaming on both sides. I think in this case, we're just simply saying
the problem is the fact checkers. They put this as totally false. They completely glossed over all the facts of what he said or what he meant. And at the very least, this fact-checking report should have been unverified or needs context.
Or somewhere in the middle. And also, this is just a sample of many fact-checking things that we come across where this happens. It isn't this one event that we're talking about fact-checking in general. It happens very consistently that whatever site or organization leans in whatever political direction tends to check the facts in that direction. We need like honestfactchecking.com. And no matter what anybody says or what anybody does, they just simply list the facts of what occurred and reports it like Walter Cronkite did. That's all. Just give us the facts and then let us figure it out, because we really need that in this. We need it now. It's hard to know what happened.
Right.
I wish somebody would dedicate themselves to just saying the truth, no matter how it looks to one side or the other.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The thing is, that's why I would argue, fact checkers, you can have fact checking companies, but someone's post or website or video or whatever should not be either promoted or throttled based on the fact checking.
Yes, very true. Very true. And that happens as well. If you're fact checking not the way that Google wants you to fact check it, then you may not get the views you would have gotten otherwise.
Right. And so look at this real quick and go, who really has the power here? These random faceless people running one of 3 fact-checking organizations, of which at the very least 2 of them lean extraordinarily one way. And they are controlling the safety and measure of Twitter and Facebook. And they are promoting posts or throttling posts based on what they think or what they are deciding is fact or fiction. That is the definition of censorship. And it's not pure censorship. It's like shadow censorship. It's like, remember on Reddit when you got shadow banned and you didn't even know it.
Right. Yeah.
And here's the problem with that. Who is deciding who these people are? Who is governing these people? Who is in charge of these organizations that are deciding what you see or what you don't see? That's a problem. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're on or what you believe. I believe everyone wants to be able to get all the information and not just what somebody you've never met is determining you are allowed to see. That is unbelievably terrifying to me.
And that is the challenge that we go through in the future over the next decade. That's going to be, I think, the challenge for humanity is how do we look at this big internet culture, this world culture that we've created, and make it so that everybody can participate without some sort of control or shutting down or tribalism occurring, because the internet should not be a tribalistic community. It just needs to be free.
Right. So. Yes. I miss the old days where I know I'm about to sound like a boomer right now, but I really miss the old wild, wild west of the internet, when it was like, what did WWW stand for? Oh, Wild Wild West. Like you can Now there was some bad stuff on that internet too. To be clear, there needs to be some kind of governance, but like we can't go so far one way that, I mean, oh man, sometimes it's sad. Sometimes I'll see people that bang the drum for years on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and they just have no reach whatsoever. And they're like actively trying. It's because they say the wrong things, and there are those organizations don't want them to be seen, and that's sort of sad. Real quick, Archmage Frey, the Proud Boys sound like they want to go watch Bros. Yes, it does sound like that. Oh, Jeremy Snyder, read the beginning of the Proud Boys. Their founder, Gavin McGinnis, who I think is funny, stuck a redacted up his bottom on a live stream. That's what it is. The Proud Boys are proud. Hey, dude, Archmage, you can't say BlackRock in here and us not and this video gets seen by anybody. That's it. All right, it just got claimed. Oh yeah, the GeoCities and Angel Fire websites. I remember that. That was or MySpace. Remember MySpace when like you can enter your own HTML and CSS and
yes,
that was fun. I would go to a page and I would have an instant like seizure from like all the flashing GIFs just being thrown in my face at the same time. Anyways, listen, hit the subscribe button in the way in the comment section. Tell us what you guys think about this. How do you feel about fact checkers? How do you feel about the watchers? Is there someone watching the watchers? Would you like to know? Because I would, and I feel like everyone should be aware of this issue. The fact that we have no idea who or what the fact checkers are. They could be lizard people from the planet Venus. We wouldn't even know.
Man, that would be totally crazy.
That was a Alex Jones joke right there.
Sounded like Obama. Weird.
No, it did not. It did not. I take Alpha GPC to protect myself from the lizard people from the planet Venus. They're in control. They're all the fact checkers. You know that. They didn't. You know that. We all know that. Now take my Alpha GPC. Okay. All right, man.
That was a good raw rant. That was good.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
the thing about raw rants, like we want to do them, but we also don't. We want it to be something that we actually care about, but we don't want it to be like something that gets everyone angry. It needs to be something that is a real problem that general people have a problem with, right? Or general people have a question about. It shouldn't be.
It's aware. Yeah.
It shouldn't be a minimal thing where like, oh, only this handful of people are affected by this problem.
Yeah. No, it needs to be an awareness thing, and it also needs to be something topical. Like, we want it to be something that's actually happening in the world right now. So, and I think that's a good one.
All right. Speaking of that, it is This Week with Tim Ross.
Oh gosh, this came to us very.
Wait. Let me do it again. This Week with Tim Ross, aka Tuvok from Star Trek Voyager.
There's nothing better than when people who are on the same TV show fight with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we just don't get to see it very often. But we had this nice moment here on Twitter. It happened about 4 days ago. And as we know, Tim Russ, who played Tuvok on Voyager, is very political. Super duper left-wing political.
Right.
And although less so, Robert Beltran, who played Chakotay, is pretty much on the right-hand side of things. So when these two giants clash, Twitter things happen. So Brian, tell us what happened here.
Yes, Tim Russ posted an image that says, "Your daily reminder that fascism is much worse than inflation." I mean, I guess technically he's right.
Such a left-wing thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, I guess fascism is definitely worse than inflation. Like, it's like saying, like, listen, the children dying is worse than
not being able to go to McDonald's.
Getting less chips in your flaming hot bag. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Wait. So what he's saying is, and I love this because what Tim is saying here is that the Democrats are taking responsibility for inflation as long as the Republicans remember that they're fascists.
Right.
That's kind of what he's saying here, right?
Yeah.
So what does Robert say?
Robert Beltran, aka Chakotay, says, "Oh, 2 reasons not to vote Democrat." Thanks, Tim.
Okay.
I didn't even realize it was him when I first saw the tweet. I'm like, oh, that's sort of funny. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Chakotay.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because he kind of cleans it up a little bit. Like he says, couldn't resist taking the Mickey out of my old buddy in jest. Inflation is hurting millions of people, and fascism can prosper when you have a uniparty, neither Democrat nor Republican, governed unchecked. The American people are smart enough to sort out what is best for them. That's Robert Beltran cleaning that up. Because the reality is, I don't know how Robert sits exactly, but that's the answer that's appropriate. Like, both sides can be responsible for fascism. And you actually can look, depending on what side of the aisle you're on, you can look from a Republican point of view or a Democratic point of view and look at the other side and go, oh, they're fascists.
Right.
Like you can almost see how both sides are fascists.
Right. Well, I mean,
in their way.
I would argue that fact checkers are fascist.
Right. Yes. And we don't know exactly who they are, but yes.
We have no idea who they are. We have no idea.
But they, whoever has control or authority and tries to make it authoritative, since the Democrats want to have, the media is lined up behind them, that's very fascist in a way. And of course, maybe the rhetoric of the right, the far right, is very, has its own, elements of fascism. So it's kind of funny, depending on what side you're on, you're basically pointing this at the other people going, no, you're fascist. No, you're fascist. And it's kind of like this dumb thing. Like, why don't we
in history there were actual fascists.
Right. Yeah. Hitler was fascist. Mussolini was fascist. These are people who were actually fascist. And it's just an easy word to throw around. It's like it's another way of calling someone a Nazi. I mean, basically.
So, pretty much.
Which is, still a bad word all these years later. So, and for good reason. But yeah, I just thought it was funny that they kind of butted heads. You don't see this very frequently on Twitter. And so we felt like we needed to highlight it. We need to seriously consider a weekly Tim Russ segment because his tweets are something else, man. Just something else.
Robert Beltran is like really talking a lot in here too. He's like, we Americans are sometimes stuck with leaders we disagree with. We have elections that change their situations. I'm neither Republican or Democrat, conservative or liberal. Vote as you see fit. We have the freedom of thought in our country. Gotta be honest, It's pretty much my identification too. So,
well, he's reasonable.
Right.
Be careful, you reasonable people out there, because you won't be listened to. So,
right. Yes. And you know what? Look at it. Hey, Beltran has significantly less followers, and he ain't working. Tim Russ is still working. So
he's a voice actor mostly now.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So we should probably consider. Let us know, guys. Do you guys want a Tim Russ Unleashed weekly segment?
You know what we should do? Instead of a Tim Russ one, we should just do a Legends of Star Trek weekly Twitter section where we go through and find like the wackiest tweets from every person who used to be in Star Trek, bro.
It will not be hard. It
won't be hard. That would be fun. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Weekly. Wait.
The weekly wackly Star Trek characters on Twitter.
Your legacy tweets, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So what is next, my friend? I can close Twitter now.
What's going on over here? Let's see. Robert Beltran was just in the new episode of Prodigy, which dropped today. You're right. He is doing voice work for Prodigy.
Oh, fantastic.
Legends of Star Trek, please. See, I'm telling you, that's the one right there. Tuvok would be fun. Like Tim Russ would be fun because he's crazy, right? But I think doing a weekly segment would be great. The Legends of Star Trek weekly tweets. Thank you, Anthony Mark.
Because he's crazy.
Because they're nuts.
Everyone except Shatner and Beltran Unleashed. Oh, and speaking of which, a quick follow-up to our $1 billion fine for Alex Jones. Now it's $1 trillion.
Oh, I know, right? It's like keep adding to the next level.
That is, I thought I was reading it wrong or it was a typo, because they're asking him to pay half of the national debt.
Well, no, they're far away from that, but yeah. It's starting to feel that way, that's for sure. Wouldn't it be great if one person can pay off the national debt and get us out of trouble?
Right? Oh,
Elon?
I like that idea, Anthony. Personal logs.
Okay. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Personal logs from Star Trek alumni. Okay, I like it. We'll work on it. Based on some of the stuff you guys gave us here.
I really want to see. We haven't seen anyone's reaction yet to this $1 trillion thing. I'm like surprised.
It's hard to react to anything with Alex Jones, to be honest with you. It's like,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
Yeah, but $1 trillion, that's...
What if they said $1 zillion? Do you think anybody
right.
Like, what is this, Looney Tunes?
Let's just go on $1 gazillion. At this point, it doesn't matter. There's no effing way on the planet this guy is paying back $1 trillion. Right, so make it whatever you want. Let's call him 45 gazillion Zarka bucks.
I think it's funny that somebody can pay $1 zillion or $1 trillion and not actually physically do anything to someone. Like, say a bunch of bad things, true, and do some terrible thing and have terrible things because you said it. Yeah, I get it. But holy cow, talk about wanting to like just destroy free speech. Like, this must be an agenda, like using this hyper, ridiculous one thing that occurred in our history to like crush this and then maybe find a way to crush free speech as well. What are the people who want to crush free speech thinking?
I'm sorry. Archmage Frey. If Alex Jones claims $1 trillion as a student loan, it will be forgiven. Boom. Game the system.
Biden be like, yeah, okay. All right.
Damn it. You got it.
No, it's true. I just don't understand. Like, why wouldn't people like you hear all the time, like people on the far left don't really want free speech, or they want speech that's proper. They don't want anybody to say anything bad or whatever, right. But at what point do you have to realize that, in order for speech to be free, you have to be able to accept some bad things. I used to say when I was in the military, I'd see people burning the American flag and I'd be like, I support you burning the American flag because that's why I fight, so that you can make those decisions.
Right.
That's why I'm in the military, so that you can be free enough to do that, because there are some countries where they would have hung your ass.
Right.
So, but not this one.
Right. No, I would argue a lot of countries, not just some.
But that's what I'm saying is like most countries in the world wouldn't allow you to do that to their flag. They would kill you.
Right.
But in this country, you can. So the less freedom, the more you try to take away freedom, the less you're going to be able to be saying, taking away other people's freedoms. So.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it must be that the $1 trillion thing must be, hey, you know what? Look, everyone look at this. Stop talking.
Yeah.
It's an anti-free speech thing, really. It's like they're making a massive example of the dude. Atheist is right. The gun manufacturer settled for $70 million. Alex got $1 billion, and then now they want to make it a trillion. Matt Vader, I'll write a check.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, it won't be cashed, but yes, I can write.
You can cash it in the year 3087.
That's when inflation will be worth it. Like my $10 in my account will be worth $1 billion.
Right. Well, yeah, inflation. You ever see those like those smaller countries in like Africa when like they have really bad inflation, the dollar amounts on their bills are.
Oh, I've been there. Yeah. No, I've been to places where like literally in Venezuela.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I had like $1 million to like my $1.
Right.
And then I'm like, whoa, these bills are huge. This has $1 million. They're like, yeah, it's like 50 cents. You can go buy a torta. Good job. I'm serious, man. It's like a Coke and a torta for $2 million. You can buy
a Coke and a torta for $200 million.
True. It's crazy. I still got them. I got like a bunch of them. I'll drag them out one time. I got the money. It's not worth it.
Yeah, Jeremy's right. If Alex Jones would have defended himself during the trial, the settlement would have been yeah, but he didn't.
Yeah, he made a mistake. Just like he makes a lot of mistakes.
He makes a lot of mistakes. That's for sure. All right, man. Let's move on. Speaking of a man who makes less mistakes. Oh, this segue was bad. I'm sorry. Jesus.
Wait, no, you got it. You got this.
Okay, let me try it again.
Okay, go do it again.
Here we go. Here we go. Speaking of a man who makes less mistakes. I screwed it up. James Gunn is now the new lead of DC movies.
Dun, dun, dun. I mean, could this be a better thing to happen to DC? If you told me there's like 5 things that could happen to DC, like it could get its own theme park, or, Jesus would come back or something. Number 3 might be James Gunn is now in charge of DC movies.
Yes, for us, like we are stoked that first off, DC Studios has an actual studio now. The fact that wasn't the case 2 years ago is like beyond stupid to me. But now James Gunn and Peter Safran they are now the leads of DC Studios. And to be clear, Peter Safran will be handling the business side of it, and James Gunn will be handling the creative side of it. Brilliant.
Yes.
For us, it's great. A lot of people don't like this. Great.
Well, and let's give some backstory a little bit real quick, because Marvel's success, as most people know, is really because Kevin Feige came in and kind of harnessed the universe and said, this is what we're going to do to be successful. Mm-hmm. And DC has never had that. And we've been kind of saying for years, DC needs a Kevin Feige. When this needs to happen, so that way they can organize, have a plan, go forward. And so what it looks like they're doing here is James Gunn. And listen, you got to understand, if you're not familiar with James Gunn's work, just let's go back to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Okay. Those movies are fantastic. He's done a great job with them. Let's take a look at, the Peacemaker series he's doing for DC. Let's look at the Suicide Squad. James Gunn is a successful movie maker, TV show maker, whatever you want to call it. He has a vision and he has fun, right? What did he say? I cannot believe they let me do this on this TV show, talking about Peacemaker.
Yes.
He was blown away that they just let him do what he wanted to do. And guess what? When you let him do what he wanted to do, what was it? Fun, exciting, excellent. So maybe that will translate if they let him do what he wants with DC. Maybe we'll get that same experience.
Yes, and if you haven't seen Peacemaker, you are missing out. Okay, it's very good.
Good show.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I I love the fact that you're going to take Peter Safran, who is well-versed in the business of movies. The guy is actually very, having worked with James Wan on like The Conjuring and a bunch of these horror movies that didn't cost very much to make, but made a bunch of money.
Right.
Now, you look at this guy on paper, man, this guy knows how to move numbers in the right direction, right? So I can totally see them going, okay, Peter Safran, you handle the business, you handle the budgeting, you make it happen. And James Gunn, you handle the creative. I gotta be honest, if anyone's gonna handle the creative in a positive way, I think it's gonna be James Gunn. And we were saying this like 2 weeks ago. We're like, look, I don't know what James Gunn's doing over there, but he should be the head of DC Studios.
We did say that, and they've been hinting towards it a little bit, but. You know, there was one project they were doing. I just want to point out really quick here that I am disappointed about. They were doing a Wonder Twins movie, and I really want that somehow.
Come on, are you
joking? Yes, I do. I want to see Wonder Twins activate, form of an ice shield and a monkey carrying it. I need that somehow.
Okay. First off, stop.
I'm serious. I love the Wonder Twins growing up.
All right. There's no way.
But wait, I also liked Aquaman, so maybe it's me.
There's no way you do the Wonder Twins in any way that makes any sense.
I know. Realistically, you can't. But there is a part of me, the child in me, wants to see this feature version of the Wonder Twin powers, for sure.
Wonder Twins power activate, form of a puddle.
You know, if they do it right, they could actually sneak it into the Justice League. They could do it.
I mean, maybe
it'll be down the line.
Maybe James Gunn can include them as like some background thing, the way he did with Howard the Duck.
Well, that's the thing is James, and this is why I mention it, because James Gunn can make something like that good. I mean, who would have thought Peacemaker could be any good, right? There's a lot of, the Suicide Squad characters. How could they be good? I mean, he did it, right?
So
look at that rat thing or whatever it was.
To be fair, the rat guy was pretty much just a joke. But to be fair, he did make Polka Dot Man,
right?
Who was a ridiculous and stupid character, somehow cool. And he made him not just cool, but he gave him like a backstory that made him sort of endearing and like you cared about him to a degree. It was very hard to do. I get that. But even James Gunn can't save the Wonder Twins.
James Gunn, Wonder Twin me.
No.
Let's go.
No.
That's just my wish list. Okay.
And you know what? Matt Vader's right. No one loved the Wonder Twins.
Well, I just said I did, Matt. So obviously you're wrong. So that's not true. And look, Orville Nation here, if you want to bring in pound for pound, Maria and PJ are starring in the Wonder Twins movie. So
God. Someone fact check that. Someone get Newsweek to fact check that.
It'll be depending on if you like or don't like Wonder Twins, whether or not it's a good fact check.
One more thing on this before we move. The search has officially ended. This is what Hollywood Reporter says. As the Hollywood Reporter reveals that Gunn and Safran are set to lead Warner Brothers Discovery's DC Studios. And this is the important part. DC Studios will now also officially replace the DC Films division. Gunn's will focus heavily on the creative side while Safran takes on the business responsibilities. So we're talking about TV shows, movies, animation, all being ran by Gunn.
That's huge, man. That is huge. Are we going to talk about the Batman rumor while we're here?
You want to talk about it in this clip?
Is it a separate story? It's not a separate story, right?
I wasn't going to talk about it because it was a rumor, but we can bring it up. Let's finish.
Let's mention it in here because I think it's important with what Gunn's doing.
Okay, I'll mention it at the end. Okay. This is exactly what they say. We're honored to be stewards of these DC characters we've loved since we were children. We look forward to collaborating with the most talented writers, directors, and actors in the world to create an integrated, multi-layered universe that still allows for the individual expression of the artist involved. Okay, I love that. Our commitment to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Harley Quinn, and the rest of the DC stable of characters is only equaled by our commitment to the wonder of human possibility these characters represent. We're excited to invigorate the theatrical experience around the world as we tell some of the biggest, most beautiful, and grandest stories ever told.
By the way, James Gunn did not write that.
Yeah.
I know.
You know how we know that?
Why?
There should be like 25 curse words for that many. For that long of a statement, there needs to be at least 25 curse words for that to be a James Gunn statement.
Yeah, I used to get paid to write stuff like this, so I know what it sounds like when it's propaganda, but it's good propaganda.
It's great propaganda,
and I will tell you that it's great to hear this because you want to hear that these characters are going to be a part of it. You didn't see in here Batgirl, Supergirl, these are stable of characters, and now that we know that we're getting Henry Cavill back as Superman. And we haven't lost Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, which is good, and we haven't lost Jason Momoa as Aquaman. There are rumors floating around.
Wait. But we are definitely losing Ezra Miller as the Flash.
But that's okay.
And
he doesn't even have his own movie yet.
You're about to talk about Ben Affleck, but he hasn't actually left. He's still doing cameos in both these upcoming movies.
True, but he's indicated that. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm just saying, like, the fact that there are rumors that they're working on a 3-movie deal for Ben Affleck,
right?
Batman. The fact that they're talking about this and that James Gunn's taking over and that they're trying to put DC back on track, and they started with Henry Cavill, Black Adam, Henry Cavill. Now, the fact that they are going to sign Ben Affleck to a trilogy of Batman movies, which I think is a good thing, is a really good thing.
Yeah,
is just more solidification, if this becomes true, that we're heading in the right direction. And we just need to continue on with the actors and actresses playing the roles that we currently have for DC and just continue to grow it and make it stronger.
Yeah, this totally gets my blood pumping in the right direction. I got to tell you this. This is a rumor. Okay? Just to be very clear. It's a rumor, and it's actually connected to someone we've talked about before, YouTuber Sal. Or Sly, or I can't pronounce his name, Sil. Now, to be fair, we were really hard on Sil a few weeks ago, or a month ago, and he actually ended up being right.
Well, right, and he's been right about things before, and I don't know if it's just luck. I mean, in a way, we almost could say we were right about a lot of things. We're talking about we think these things are going to happen, but it would have just been a guess. But this guy's got a pretty good track record, and him saying this it lends a little more credibility than just us wishful thinking for it.
And this is what he says. It seems as though Ben Affleck is going to get to play Batman in a new trilogy if this new report is to be believed or correct. According to Geeksocity, Mike Sutton, Ben Affleck has signed on for 3 more Batman movies. He revealed during an appearance on Sil's channel. This sounds like we're going to be in for a pretty fun time. So until now, it has been known that Affleck will be playing Batman again in the Flash movie. And then it was revealed that he'd be playing the Dark Knight again in Aquaman. It seems as though Affleck has caught the Batman bug again. And let's be real. If this is not rumor, let's say this is total fact. It's not that Affleck caught the Batman bug, okay? It's that the old regime is gone. The toxic regime that he didn't want to work with anymore that screwed him because his first deal was, I come do your Batman versus Superman movie and I sign in a contract to do your Justice League movie, but I get to make my own Batman movie.
Right.
And then they pulled the rug out from this dude.
Yep, you're right.
He fulfilled his part of the contract. And what did they do? Matt Reeves is going to do his own thing now. It's not going to involve you. I'm sorry. That is illegal. But, they're $1 billion company. And I'm sure there was all kinds of loopholes. So they rug pulled Ben Affleck. And Ben Affleck said, I'm done playing Batman. Now, then his buddy Zack Snyder called and said, hey, bro, I need you to come back for these reshoots for the Snyder Cut. They're giving me an insane amount of money for no reason to do this. Hook me up.
to shut the fans up. That was the reason to do it.
Right. And he came back because he's friends with Snyder. In fact, Snyder got all his friends back to come back to do reshoots. And then David Zaslav, the tornado, the Zazman. Discovery buys Warner Brothers, and it turns into WMD. And they completely take over, and they axe the majority of the existing staff regarding DC. Now it's a completely different regime who making these public statements like, why is Superman not in movies? Why is DC not have its own studio? Why has this been so poorly managed? They are making the statement that this has been poorly managed. I am sure Ben Affleck, being a pretty smart guy, can go, hey, listen, maybe I can actually make my Batman movie. And maybe they're going to offer me enough money to do so. In fact, it's possible that with this James Gunn news and with what was accomplished with Henry Cavill, I would bet on this actually being coming true. If I had to give it a percentage chance, I would say probably 70% chance that there's at the very least will be a Batman movie.
Well, and here's the problem. It's going to be weird if there's not. Let's just face it. If you have all the other characters and you don't have this version of Batman back, you don't have the Batfleck, it's going to be a little weird trying to do a Justice League movie without him initially. I just feel like it feels like everything's heading in that direction. So this rumor feels very potential to me.
Yes. Now, I'm a little wary of like the 3-picture deal, but I can see a movie deal. Like, if I was Ben Affleck, I also wouldn't trust them to make. I mean, I guess it's different people, but I would still be very wary of like, 3 pictures, bro. Let's do 1. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I don't know if they're planning that far ahead, but maybe. I mean, they might. I mean, I could see James Gunn trying to plan out for the next 10 years, of what's coming, and maybe that includes 3 Batman movies. It's possible.
Sure.
Depending, but we definitely needs to be more Justice League movies. It needs to be more. I mean, look, we still haven't seen the Flash movie yet, integral part of the Justice League. So there's things to come. And all I can say is this is extraordinarily positive. To the James Gunn news, the Henry Cavill news, all this is just leading to good things. So,
yeah, it's gonna be a good time. If you're
we've waited a long time for this.
We've been waiting for a long time. If you're a DC fan, it seems like the time of DC, the reign of DC is upon us.
Finally,
the hierarchy in the comic book movie genre is about to change. Yeah, and you know what? Death to Marvel. I'm cool with that too. So, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button away in the comment section. Let us know what you think about this news. Right before we leave you, though, I do want to share something. This recent Twitter poll by our friend Matt Vader. Wonder Twins, nope or activate?
You got to give it more context than that, Vader. You can't just say Wonder Twins yes or no. There's got to be context.
I'm assuming you want to activate it.
What?
You want to hit activate, right?
Yes, Wonder Twin powers activate.
Nice.
But see, here's the thing is there needs to be context, yeah. It can't be the silly cartoon version. It's got to be a better version.
Okay. So, you know what, bro? Maybe you need to make your own movie, man. It's just write a script. Write a Wonder Twin script where they're like murderous anti-heroes. They're like Wonder Twin powers activate, form of an ice knife.
Oh my gosh, dude! Maybe they're so overwhelmingly ridiculously silly,
right?
Because they had a dark upbringing, and they have to be this way, or they'll destroy the whole world.
They're like form of Jeffrey Dahmer.
That's great.
All right, that's it. Hit all the buttons, guys. See you tomorrow. All right. Sorry, I was doing that for the clip, dude. It's hilarious that when you said, "Is it me or is Marvel getting boring?" Yes, and we're going to be talking about that in the members section because there is a lot of trailers that came out. Now, Guardians is good, but the majority of the trailers that came out, like even Quantumaina, sort of looks like whatever.
Yeah,
Wakanda forever, whatever. Like it's like more like Wakanda, whatever. Like I don't care at all. And I wonder if like just me. Like I don't know, man.
No, I'm feeling it too, man. I mean, after Thor: Love and Thunder, it's been kind of like I don't know. But yeah. Guardians 3 is going to be good.
I do believe Guardians 3 is going to be good. I do believe that. All right, so let's. I guess there's more DC news coming up, guys.
Yeah, we should have transitioned. That would have been fun.
That was bad. Yeah. Okay.
What do we got back here? Just a couple of things real quick.
Ahead.
Just I want to say we got a lot of comments in here, but somebody put out something that thanked us for our service with Veterans Day coming up. I think it's the 11th. Yeah. Anthony Mark. Thank you. With Veterans Day coming up, we thank Brian, Shane, and all veterans for their service. Thank you, Anthony Mark. That means a lot because we did spend a nice portion of our life doing that. So
is Veterans Day coming up?
Yeah, the 11th, I think.
I always forget about that.
Yeah, well.
All right. Sorry to cough in the
Wonder
mic.
Twins narrated by me.
Wonder Twin powers activate. That's so stupid.
Thank you, atheist. I'll do it. It was great. I'm sorry. Just one moment more here. Okay. You didn't love when the Wonder Twins came on and they like nearly almost messed up everything that the Justice League was trying to do. You didn't just love that moment. Like the Wonder Twins were the kids of the Justice League. And you were a kid watching Justice League. Were you not like, I should be one of the Wonder Twins and I would definitely not have formed into a puddle, right?
Yeah. Every time they showed up, I was like, why are they here? This is ruining my experience.
I didn't feel that way at all.
All right. Well, speaking of heroes that I do not think are a joke. You like that?
I think so. It depends on what you say next.
Talking about Black Adam's Rotten Tomato audience score is really high, but the critics is really low. And considering exactly how much money this movie has now made, again, it's not breaking records per se. Actually, it sort of is breaking records for specifically Dwayne Johnson, but not breaking records in the movie world. But it is an October released film for a character that normies don't know anything about, and it's now over $200 million worldwide, and it came out last Thursday. 1 week ago. 1 week ago. I'm sorry, 1 week ago. Jesus, what's wrong with my mouth?
And it's not even going to China, right?
Not yet. It's going to be in China, so that's going to be a big bump for it.
Yeah.
A big bump is when this thing releases in China. It's going to be huge, bro. All right, this is what Screen Rant says. DC's latest film, Black Adam, has deeply divided critics and audience on Rotten Tomato score, having given Black Adam, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the highest audience score for any theatrically released DCEU film. Quite a stunning departure from the Black Adam's 39% score from critics. Gee, I didn't know it was the highest. It is the highest, huh?
Well, DC did not get a lot of high-rated audience scores. The fact that this is so divided, I think it just screams. In a way, I think it screams like how out of touch critics are, and maybe how politicized critics are these days, as opposed to like which studios they favor and which they don't. I think a lot of critics are using the excuse that Dwayne Johnson is not, Shakespeare here. He hasn't elevated his acting performance for this movie. And I think they're judging him based on that, because the movie itself, there's just nothing wrong with it. Like, it's fun.
No,
like,
it's super fun.
And
I was going to do a video on this, but there wasn't enough for me to talk about. But I got to see it a second time in 4DX. Okay. You need to know about this. If you don't know what 4DX is yet, I'm going to show you, because have you ever been on a ride at a theme park and been like, man, that ride wasn't long enough? Imagine if that ride was 2 hours long. Because that's what 4DX is.
All over the place. I mean, like,
right. 4DX with Black Adam is like a 2-hour ride. Here's exactly what 4DX is, by the way. So you have these 4 chairs, right?
Yes.
And there's rows of 4. So that the whole theater is full of rows of 4 chairs. Now the chairs activate on their own motors. They're like moving and shaking, and it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Additionally, there's water, like steam and fog being shot out of hidden nozzles around the chairs to sort of simulate smoke and debris. And then there's actual rain coming down,
that's crazy,
from the ceiling. Like when the Black Adam's ship, I'm sorry, when the Nth Metal ship, Hawkman's ship, hits the water, and on screen you see like the water displace and shower everywhere. You feel rain hit you on your face. It's it's gnarly. additionally, the chairs, they're not just like casually vibrating, you guys. They're moving the same way some of these like 3D rides move. They're like, they're so fast. My kid is sitting there, my 70-pound little kid has a box of popcorn, and at one point I look over there and she's laughing uncontrollably, and the popcorn is just flying out of her hands like this. It is crazy. This entire experience is exactly that. It is an experience. I'm not saying it's like, you don't actually feel like you're on a ride, but it is just so wildly fun. Now, I couldn't imagine watching this like a serious movie because I'd be giggling the whole time. It wouldn't work out. Like I'm pretty sure Downton Abbey, watching this with Downton Abbey would probably just be raining the whole time and no movement.
Okay, yeah.
But with a movie like this, like a fun movie with action and some laughs, it is absolutely a must have experience. It's great when the wind comes and everything. It's really quite good. So I don't want to get off this tangent, but I saw it in 4DX, and I liked it. I liked it more. And obviously, you can like it more when everything's being timed around you. But it was
Which theater was it?
Regal.
Regal. So my Regal does not have these, but Cinemark has a D-box experience that's similar, where the chairs move and everything else.
I don't have D-box at my Cinemark.
Okay. I do. So yeah, that's interesting. But we don't have the 4D experience through Edwards. So
D-box is like that. It's like it moves, the chairs move and all that, and there's water and all that crap.
I don't know about water. I don't remember none of that. But all I know is I turned my sensitivity all the way down, because after about 20 minutes, I was like, I can't do this.
And how much did it cost?
It was like an extra $10, I think.
Oh, okay. So yeah, 4DX is like considerably more expensive. I wouldn't have gone had I not gotten a gift certificate for my birthday.
So, but back to this critics thing, I think it's really important to note that it is extraordinarily rare for a movie to be off by 51 points,
right?
From critics to the audience. So go back. You have to go back quite a bit to get anything close to this. And actually, Venom back in 2018 did have a 30% critic score and an 80% audience score. So Black Adam is even more, an additional from 90 to 39, is even more, diversive from Venom. And we remember how Venom was. And we're like, well, but you can kind of understand why critics may not have liked Venom. There were some elements to the movie that you could kind of get why the critics wouldn't like it, but I don't see them in Black Adam. It feels like it's all on Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, and you have a good point there. I remember watching Venom and saying, well, the critics are being overly harsh in this movie. It's not bad. It's fun. But there were certain moments that you can be like, I totally understand why someone wouldn't like this. But then you watch Black Adam, and I said it last week, I'm confused. Like, did we watch the same movie? Did you watch a different cut of the film that I saw? Because all of your criticisms, to me, like, you can even reverse those criticisms. Like, when they complain about The Rock's, out of fish character, fish out of water character, I'm like, actually, I love that. When they complain about how high octane it is, it's so fast. There's no room for any real heart in this movie. I disagree. Most of their complaints are either completely out of left field and have no actual basis in the movie I saw twice, but some of them are legitimately the reverse of what I think, and it's confusing. It's really confusing. It's like, I wonder if did they see a movie 2 months ago, and we saw a different cut of the movie. I wonder if that's a thing. Is it a thing for them to see the movie like 2 months early and that's a different version?
Yeah, there could be some things that were not finalized, but wouldn't be enough to make the movie bad. Not this bad. And a lot of these critic scores came out after the movie released. So it didn't start out at 39. It was higher than this, and it just kept dropping after the movie released.
Wow. And you know what? People were saying, oh, the audience score is, and that's another thing too. A lot of people are saying, oh, the audience score is just bots, or people supporting the movie because they like Zack Snyder, and they're blaming the Snyder Bros again, right?
Yeah.
Well, newsflash, I actually know some Snyder Bros, and they are boycotting the movie, so I'm not sure how that works. And the money speaks for itself. Like it's making money. Now it's not breaking records, but it's making money, and we'll see this weekend if it has legs. Because if it has legs, and it has another good weekend, then not only is the audience score backed up by the ticket price, but you can look at the verified reviews where people actually uploaded ticket stubs, and it's just as high, if not higher. So, verified moviegoers that are reviewing this film are giving it more than 90%.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
It's a good point. And also this is Dwayne Johnson's biggest opening, so it's the most money he's made in an opening. It's also the number one weekday opening in fall, so it's made more money on a weekday than any other movie has in fall. You got to go back to, even beats last October's stuff like Halloween Kills and Dune, which only made 2.7 million, 1.7 million respectively on their first Mondays. Granted, they were
COVID, right?
But, I mean, we were at the end of it,
right?
So I think people were still going to the movies at that point. But I get it. It's just this movie is obviously going to do a lot better, and it's not getting the respect that it deserves. And I'd be curious to see where we're sitting when Wakanda Forever comes out and what their monetary value is, and to see if people were right or wrong on this.
Okay, all right. So, on that note, first off, Penny, I also love that line. Well, I do. That was awesome. But before, I wanted to say that because I'm about to say something irritable. Already, do we see the same critics, the same exact critics, mind you, that are lambasting this movie and The Rock for being The Rock, already shilling hard for Wakanda Forever?
Well, yeah.
Movie hasn't released yet. We finally got a real trailer. They are shilling hard. They're talking biggest opening of all for Marvel and huge. Wakanda Forever saves the box office. Movies are back, baby. Oh my God, shut up.
Do you see what's happening here, Brian? Do you see what's happening? Now, this is such a great thing that happens on our entire planet. Right now, we have no animosity. Seriously. Before now, we really didn't have any animosity towards Marvel versus DC. But because somebody is pushing Marvel so hard, it's forcing us to the other side of the aisle to push back. Mm-hmm. And that's creating the division in people. And so the fact that who's not going to line up to lick Disney's feet if you're a critic, because there's access. They literally make like 70% of all the movies. You need to have access to that. And you're just going to have a harder time being honest if you want to get Disney's attention as a critic.
Right.
And so they're shilling because they want to continue living.
Right. And that forces us to, and this happens in every essence of life. That's forcing us, the people who are trying to be honest constantly, and other reviewers on YouTube that are probably smaller than these critics are, that's forcing them to go farther in DC's camp.
Right.
Because people are shilling so hard for Marvel products that they feel the need, and it's a human need. There's a human need to balance things, right?
Yes.
To bring balance to an argument.
Especially when you're reasonable.
Right. Especially when you're reasonable. You are trying to and so in order for us to balance the argument, well, we have to go all the way one side.
Right.
Because they're so far on that side right now that they're giving this movie a 39% and saying how horrible The Rock is. Now it's the worst performing movie of all time when these are factually incorrect statements. Factually incorrect statements. There's no opinion here. People objectively like this movie, and it's objectively making more money than people thought it would. So where are these false statements coming from? I'm not even sure how you can lean on statements and say, "Well, that's my opinion." No, you're just lying. Like in that movie, like that part in Black Adam when he goes, "It was sarcasm," and Dr. Fate's like, "No, it was just lying." Well, that's what you're doing. You guys are just lying. You're just lying. You're putting a headline out there that's factually incorrect on purpose.
Yeah.
And then you fill the body of the text with things that fix your headline, but no one's reading that crap.
Well, people have gotten very comfortable labeling lies as opinions, as labeling things that aren't true as opinions.
Right.
And it's become a very gray area. And now it's happening in movies. So, this is just one more thing that we gotta keep talking about honestly. We got to keep saying the truth as we see it, or as it's put out to us, and we'll keep giving that to you guys as we see it. So hopefully there's more good than bad.
And I gotta say, I'm not against Wakanda Forever. I hope as a moviegoer, that's great. I hope that I love it. Okay. But I do feel myself becoming more and more biased toward Marvel products because of this. And I wonder if it's going to affect my opinion. If it's going to make me biased toward Marvel when I watch the movies.
Possibly. I mean, I'm looking at the trailer and I'm saying, well, it doesn't look good. Like, you watch a trailer and you're like, oh man, I can't wait to see that. Or it gets you hyped. This Wakanda trailer does not get me hyped. And I don't know why exactly, other than it just doesn't.
It doesn't do anything for me, yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be tough. Black Panther is gone. They now have a new Black Panther. They're going to have to prove something to us.
Right. All right. Well, that said, hit the comment section on the way to the subscribe button. Let us know what you guys think. And tell Shane specifically what you thought of Black Adam.
Yes,
Not me. Don't tell me. I already know what you thought. But tell Shane how much you either loved it or hated it. Let us know in the comment section below.
Does it make anybody else nervous that he knows what you think already?
I'm not saying I'm Dr. Fate, but I'm also not saying I'm not Dr. Fate. Okay.
I was wondering where that helmet went.
If I had that helmet, I don't know if I'd be doing a YouTube show. Oh, no, I would be doing a YouTube show, but it would be in the helmet the whole time.
Yes, totally.
Yeah. All right. And there's a funny thing. Art the Atheist said, you guys got me hyped for Black Adam, and I'm glad I trusted you. There you go. See, someone's got to push back against the unreasonable nonsense. I'm glad we can do a little bit with our little channel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude,
what else we got?
We should have segued. We should have segued to Wakanda Forever right there. I don't know what we were thinking.
I don't know. I thought we were doing Wakanda Forever later, but
I know.
I don't know.
It's a perfect segue though. You ruined it.
Sometimes you should just go with it. Like if you feel it, you see it. Like I did earlier. Like just go with it.
Okay, I'll do that. But you know what? We've already stopped talking about it, so
So now, never mind. It's pointless.
Never mind. We're gonna finish out the DC news, I guess, about the Superman suit. You want to do that?
Yeah, and then we go to the member section.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, guys. So one more story from the DCEU. A lot of DC stuff today. I'm sorry, but like this whole week has been like so DC front loaded.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking a little bit about how Henry Cavill chose that suit. And just this is the last story in this section. Then we're going to go to the member section. So I'm going to implore you twice here. Please consider becoming a member to see the rest of the show. If not, then that's okay too. All right.
Agreed. Please.
Let's talk about Henry Cavill and why he chose that specific Superman suit in the Black Adam cameo. What he said was, this character means so much to me. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Henry. It means a lot to you, but not so much that you were willing to pass on a $10 million offer, just to be clear. Because he was offered $10 million and he turned it down. Right?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. He was making them a lot more money than that. So
that's fair.
There becomes a point where you say, look, and this is whether it's sports or gaming, like you like, or movies. If the guy in charge is making 100 times more than you're making, then it's okay to want a little more since you're the one making them the money.
No, I totally agree with you. And I think that he is worth every penny that they give him or that he asks for. But I do find it interesting that he does say that a lot on social media. I still love the suit. The character means so much to me. It's my favorite character. But twice they offered him more money than the previous movies, and twice he turned it down because it wasn't close to the offer he actually wanted. So
yeah,
he's worth it. He's worth it, but
what? So he should have taken it because we only make $30,000 a year.
I mean, look,
or should he? Look, if you're like you're going to make $100 million and you're going to give me 10% of it, but I'm 90% of the reason why the movie is successful. It'd be different if they weren't making money on the movies. It'd be different if like they only made $5 million. But if you're making $100 million and the guy wants 15 instead of 10. Then shut the hell up.
Well, maybe I feel that way because like I would work for free on a Superman.
Right. No, we literally would like pay them to.
I would pay them. Yeah.
Right. I got like $50 if I can get in the suit.
Yeah, I would not only pay them, but I would do things that are shameful to be a part of this movie.
They're not even asking you to do that.
It doesn't matter. I will offer my shameful services just to be an extra, or you know what, a water boy. Let me be a water boy. Craft services. I will do shameful things for craft services.
You shouldn't mention shameful things in craft services together because that's food related.
I will do shameful things to the craft services. If that's what you're into. If that's what you're into. Hey, if that's what you're into. I'm just saying. I'll move along. If anyone's listening from DC, I'm your guy. I'm your guy.
They don't want you now. You've just disgusted them.
Right. So speaking of this, Henry Cavill has spoken about the powerful moment he had when he put the Superman suit back on and why he chose the Man of Steel costume for his Black Adam cameo. Cavill's post-credit scene cameo in Black Adam shows him wearing the Superman's iconic blue and red suit. Speaking on some podcast, I'm not sure, the actor explained why he opted to wear the Man of Steel gear for his return. And he opened up about his emotional resonance of the outfit and how he felt when he put it on for the first time. This is what he said, boys and girls. It was a very powerful moment for me. I wasn't sure how I would feel. Whether it would be something very emotional, connective, because I put the Man of Steel suit back on. I chose that one in particular because of the nostalgia attached to the suit. It was important for me to be standing there enjoying that moment. That is one of the top moments in my career. It feels great to have the opportunity to wear it again.
Yeah. And this is a good point because that suit, let's be honest here, that suit is Superman's suit. When you go back to all the movies made before we got this version of Superman, that's the suit that he wore. Whether it's Brandon, whether it's Christopher, that's the suit. And so the nostalgia he's talking about that's what Superman fans know. I mean, it's cool. The comics have come out with the black suit and all the different versions of the Superman suit, but this is Superman's outfit.
Yeah, it's not exactly the same. The S is different. I actually prefer this S. And there's, some modern...
The color pattern is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but the color pattern, right. He goes on to talk about that. He says, the character means so much to me. It's been 5 years now. I never gave up hope. Yeah, we already talked about
why you're laughing. I think this is I think you're on the wrong side of this.
Okay. I love him. Like, I'm just saying, like,
I'm sorry. I know you do it for free, but he shouldn't.
Yeah, you're right. Cavill said of the half decade he spent waiting for news about playing Superman again, it's amazing to be here now talking about it again. There is such a bright future ahead for the character. I'm so excited to tell a story with an enormously joyful Superman. Those key words are important. Bright, joyful, right?
Yes.
That's what we need. That's what we need, man. We need bright and joyful.
And that goes back to what we talked about previously in the show, where we talked about, we want, Zack Snyder's Superman has been a little dark, and I think it's time to brighten it up a little bit, Right. And that's probably where they're going. These are probably little hints as to what the type of Superman we're going to get is coming.
Yeah. I love this. IGN felt that Black Adam was unfortunately undeveloped and many ideas seem half-baked in our review. Yeah. Because you're shills. You're shills. Sorry, go back to your Disney overlords. Go bow at the feet of Mickey Mouse. Yeah, you suck it. Do it. Go back, IGN. You damn shills. Why are you interviewing this man? Why are you interviewing this man when you have no actual credibility? Jesus. Okay, my bad.
Forgive us, Lord.
Maria with T and Tilly, $5. Thank you, Maria. Here's my shameful tip tip for the tip jar. Mad love to you both. We love you, Maria.
Thank you, Maria. You are awesome. And all of you guys who give us those super chats, we appreciate it so much. These are people who are doing their own YouTube channels and they know how hard it is. So thank you.
Yeah, I need as much money as possible to pay them to allow me to do craft services.
You know what we didn't do? We didn't break down somebody's show review. We should have done that, and we should do that another time.
My God.
Like just break down their show review and
just destroy it in real time. I want to do that.
Yeah, and explain why it's not.
You know what?
Truthful.
Let's check it out right here. Oh, here we go. Okay, real quick. Let's just peruse it real quick. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
It certainly did start off with a lot of potential. The JSA comic run featuring Black Adam is one of DC's all-time greats, as it shows how his brutal sense of justice made it even the most upstanding heroes re-examine the line between what's right and wrong. I'm gonna stop doing that voice. It's hurt my throat.
Thank you. It's like driving me crazy. It's like Napoleon Dynamite's brother. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Johnson plays Black Adam in the same vein as Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2. A stoic, seemingly soulless killing machine gains a glimmer of humanity and even a sense of humor.
Okay, stop right there. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Terminator 2, the best freaking version of Terminator.
Yeah. Why is that a problem?
Stop right there. Absolute best Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator.
Okay. So, hey, guess what? That's a +1 right there.
Yeah,
okay.
Plus.
If that's how you saw it, that should be a good thing. Okay.
Yes.
While he gets top marks for making his Black Adam just as steely and imposing as the comics, the character feels too confident and powerful.
He's literally Superman.
Yeah, okay. So this is what I'm talking about, though. Like,
magical version.
They're saying it's a negative for him to be Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2. It's a negative for him to be too confident and powerful. I'm like, those are all positive things.
Well, that's what the character's supposed to be. So how is he?
Right.
How is it bad that he's being what the character should be?
Yeah. Did you read the comic books? They see. I hate it that they start the article with like the JSA comic featuring like this reviewer read the comic book. Right.
It doesn't sound like it.
Doesn't sound like he read the comic book, or she. I'm not sure. All right. They go on. The main figure opposing his violent ways is Justice Society member Hawkman, played by Aldous Hodge. While the veteran hero is a sight to behold with his gleaming wings and energizing mace, his character feels criminally underdeveloped. It's not his movie.
This is an ensemble cast, guys. Like, we can't do just Hawkman.
It's not. The movie is not called Hawkman.
Right.
Like, for the love of all that is holy, do they not realize this as they're writing this out? It's an ensemble
because
cast.
They've been paid to write something that's not truthful.
Hawkman is one of the most notoriously complicated backstories in all of comics. Yeah, it's actually like even the comics aren't even on the same page.
We didn't even get the backstory for Hawkman, and we weren't supposed to.
And I would argue that's a good thing. That would have ruined the movie.
Would have convoluted the entire movie.
All right, they go on. Instead, Hawkman mainly serves as a punching bag, both physically and metaphorically. Not true. Not true. He definitely eventually loses to Black Adam, but their fight is it's a great fight, and the fight with the whole JSA is actually believable. And isn't he the reason why Black Adam wins at the end of the movie? Yes. He's the reason.
I mean, what do they expect that because they complain that he's getting his bird butt kicked most of the movie. I'm like, do you think he's supposed to be able to beat Black Adam?
Right, but you have to remember in the movie, when Sabak was like, something about you're not a hero, Black Adam's like, yes, but he is.
Right. I mean, that was cool, but they're complaining about the fight scenes and the fact that he didn't win more. It's just kind of lame.
The movie is not called Hawkman.
Right. Like,
I don't know what you want from this. He played a pivotal role in the movie. It wasn't just on screen to get his bird butt kicked. That's not true. In fact, that's just factually wrong. If you watch the movie, that's factually wrong. Mm-hmm. So you're just lying.
I mean, he does get his butt kicked several times, but not, I don't know. I mean, like, I didn't feel like he was he was getting in on Black Adam a lot too.
Yeah. So no, he's not. This is how it's factually wrong.
You know what they're complaining about? That he's the butt of the joke.
He's not.
That's what they really are bothered about. Is that Hawkman was frequently kind of the butt of the joke. Black Adam would win the joke or would win the moment over him. And that's different than getting his bird butt kicked the entire time. They talk about here that it's hard to take Black Adam and Hawkman's debate about whether it's okay for heroes to kill evildoers seriously when the film often makes jokes out of the outlandishly brutal way Black Adam murders them. So was the movie making jokes about it? I guess when he threw that guy and then he's like, oh, he didn't make it.
I mean, yeah,
is that what they're talking about?
There were some jokes about him killing the bad guys. Yeah.
Right. But are we supposed to take the debate serious? I'm just trying to figure out.
No,
we're all aware.
The point is that there isn't a debate. The point is perspective.
Right. That is the point. Right.
That's the point. So what we're seeing here is we're seeing the reviewer who watched the film missing the entire point. It's not that it's a debate. It's a different perspective, because one is from this time and one is from 5,000 damn years ago. It's a different perspective. They end up on both on the same side because they have the same goals or similar morality to a degree. But the debate wasn't whether you should kill or not. It was the perspective was the point. It's
Well, and they criticize Pierce Brosnan here, his character. They say he delivers a charming and mysterious performance as Dr. Fate, although the script tries to do too much with his character without spending enough of their 2 hours of screen time to earn it. So I guess that whole part in the beginning where he like loses 20 minutes of time being like sucked into the helmet, and he tells the driver, hey, next time maybe wake me up. Right at the very beginning, that told you everything you needed to know in that one moment about his relationship to that helmet, and that things were going to happen that we probably weren't going to understand.
Right.
What else could they have done to make him earn his ability in the movie? This
reviewer must have gone to the bathroom at that point. Maybe
I don't understand.
Maybe they have IBS, so they went to the bathroom multiple times during the movie. Again, the movie is not called Dr. Fate. It's called, say it with me, Black Adam.
Right. It's not the JSA. Right. It's not the JSA, because they go on to say here, it's a shame that the two young budding heroes who have good chemistry, they have no noticeable effect on the plot. Listen, it's an ensemble cast. The movie's about Black Adam. They're going to have bit part roles in this. It's just not going to be, it's not the Justice League. Okay, it's not, everybody gets their moment in the sun. In fact, I think they do a good job of giving everyone their moment in the sun.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. I mean, maybe this person wanted the movie to be 4 or 5 hours long so that we could fit all this stuff into it. It's just a little bit unrealistic.
Yeah, my kid wants to be Cyclone for Halloween. There's no Cyclone costumes. She loves that character. So what you said, we with a bit too much going on, and here's the coup de grace, my friends. Check it out, everyone. Check it out. Black Adam feels both overstuffed and underdeveloped. Okay. You're saying that we didn't develop all these other characters, but then you say it feels overstuffed.
Right.
Pick a lane, bro. I mean, I don't know what you want.
Much.
It bites off more than it can chew, yet you just asked it to bite off more.
Yeah.
I don't fully understand how you can say 4 things in a row that conflict each other in succession. I don't know how this works. I guess I'm not a reviewer, because if this is how reviews are done, I don't want to be. Jeez.
Well, and they basically complain that there's too many characters in the movie. That's their complaint, because there's so many characters in the movie that they aren't able to, really filter out and make it a performance, that rises. But I don't believe that that's what this movie is all about. Like, it's not supposed to be the exploration of Black Adam I mean, they do that, but it's not like Batman or Iron Man or that situation. And maybe that's what they're complaining, is that we don't get that initial Iron Man where he's becomes himself, or Batman going through his
story. Right.
the origin story. We get the origin story, but it's encompassed in this bigger thing. And I'll tell you why it's like this. It's because Dwayne Johnson wants the DC universe in play. In a way, it's kind of respectful that he's not trying to make everything about himself.
Right.
If you notice, this movie isn't like all Black Adam all the time. There's so many other things going on that you get enough Black Adam, but he shares his toys.
No, he does.
He wants it to be more. So this movie is not the central focus of himself. And if that's a criticism that he didn't do that, then I say yay for DC in the future. Because it's like, let's play in this playground more. And it's not all about me, me, me. It's all about us, us, us.
Yeah. And you know what? In all of his promotions, same thing is like, it's not just about Black Adam. We're introducing all these great characters. It's a bigger universe. He continually is pressing this. I'm looking at The Rock and I'm like, either you're completely full of it, bro, or you have the right idea. And you're executing this idea that I have been asking DC to execute since I was like 15, like for a long time. And we almost got there. There was like this false start with Man of Steel where we were getting it. It was going. Oh, but the studio sucks. Well, the verdict here, this is what they said. Black Adam overindulges to the point where it's hard to enjoy the DC anti-hero's debut. It's packed with undeveloped characters and excessive number of repetitive action scenes. I'm going to stop right there because...
Well, yeah, and I want to say something too, because this is what I hate most about the review. Then they totally back up and say, don't get me wrong. I hate it when people do this. Pick a lane. There's nothing wrong with a superhero movie being driven by action, especially one featuring a Superman level character. Just took back, in a way, everything that they just said to say, oh, it just got old. And it's such a crappy review by a IGN who's been doing this for a long time.
Long time, guys.
Check your staff, IGN.
Yeah, someone review the reviewers, please.
That seems to be the theme today.
Yeah, review the reviewers. Watch the watchers. Fact check the fact checkers. Like, for the love of God, this is not... I mean, listen, if he actually had points where he's like, well, I didn't like this subjectively. I didn't like Cyclone's power set. I didn't really understand where it came from. Like, we have some criticisms, but everyone, like, we just read this, every one of these criticisms are non-criticisms. Like, they're all not real. He even equates his performance to Terminator 2, which is one of the greatest fish out of water stories for a comic book action movie he's ever seen. Oh my God. All right.
Yeah. Joshua Yehel. That's who did this review. Right. Senior editor and producer of features. You're right here in Los Angeles. Good job, let's have a talk, Joshua.
Yeah. We'll hit you up on Twitter. All right. Well, that's it. Hit that subscribe button on the way to the comment section. Let us know what you guys think about this and reviewers and just everything I actually forgot exactly what we were talking about, but
it was Superman's blue suit.
Oh, so that led us here. That's where we're at. Okay. We started talking about Superman's blue and red suit, and now we're talking once again about shill reviewers. Okay, cool. All right, man, we're gonna go to the members section. How did that happen? Jesus.
Because we decided to look at one of the reviews. Remember we said we'd do it in the future?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's look at it now.
I wanted to quickly look at it, and then it was like, well, wait a minute. I like Atheist says this reviewer sounds like a pacifist. Yeah, I guess so.
Ross Dog's Broken Spirit. She-Hulk stunk. Agreed, Ross. Agreed.
Okay, my friends. It's about that time. We are heading to the members section. Now, it's not bad. It's not all bad. Okay? Members section's great. Let me tell you why.
Good. It's awesome. It's the place to be.
Let me tell you why the members section is great. If you were here last week during the members section.
Was it last week? It was last week.
It was last week. Last week, Robert Meyer Burnett joined us for a brief amount of time. And
not brief, but yeah.
Oh, not brief. For long. He actually took over the entire thing. He showed up. And listen, that segment was just rock hard, golden. I don't have any words for it. He let all the information loose. The guy didn't care. So listen, we have a lot of good stuff. I'm trying to not like spoil it or whatever. We have a lot of good stuff.
He cared, but yeah, he was uncorked for a time.
Unleashed. perhaps
unleashed for a moment, and only members got to experience it. So that being said,
there's a lot that goes on in the member section that you would never see here. Like what happens in the member section stays in the member section. Okay.
Yeah, we're like Vegas, but no slot machines.
Yes, we have a good time. So come on over. We're going to be talking about, we're going to look at trailers because we can't look at them here without getting copyright claimed. But we are going to be looking at the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. The new Star Wars movie apparently coming out. Like, that's a great idea. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, and, of course, Wakanda Forever.
Right on.
Right on. Okay, everybody, we're going over there. The link is in the chat. It's in the description. And if you literally do nothing, if you just stop and just let your computer take over, it'll take you to the member section. We'll see you there. We love your